Before a single word is spoken, Rome has already made its point. You step into the forum. Merchants call out from every direction. Sandals scrape across worn stone. Towering above the crowd stands the emperor. His face is carved into stone. His image passes from hand to hand on everyday coins. His banners fly above marching soldiers. His victories are celebrated before cheering crowds. Morning becomes afternoon. Tomorrow, nothing has changed. The statues still watch. The banners still fly. The story is still the same. You don't hear it once. You live inside it. How do you make millions of people believe the same story? For thousands of years, rulers searched for the answer, not with bigger armies, not with better weapons, but by understanding something far more powerful, the human mind. You've already experienced it. Modern psychology simply gave it a name. Part of what you've experienced is known as the illusory truth effect. Repeated exposure doesn't make an idea true, but it can make an idea feel familiar, and familiarity can quietly influence what feels believable. Rome didn't need every citizen to believe every claim. It only needed one story, seen often, heard often, woven into everyday life. Because the most effective propaganda doesn't interrupt your world. It becomes your world. History had solved one problem. How do you make people remember? But history was about to confront a far more difficult question. How do you make them care? A young man is walking. He stops. Not because someone forced him to, because something caught his attention. The poster isn't asking him to memorize facts. It's asking something much more personal. What kind of person are you? Duty, honor, family, country, belonging. Before he weighs the evidence, he feels something. Modern psychology helps explain why. Emotion shapes what captures our attention, what we remember, and often the choices we make. When an idea becomes part of our identity, rejecting it becomes much harder. Rome had taught people what to remember. Now persuasion had learned how to make people care. But even the strongest message had one weakness. It could only influence the people who saw it. History still had another question to answer. How do you reach everyone? Then the world changed. For the first time in history, the same voice could enter millions of homes. Before dinner, a speech no longer ended when the crowd went home. It followed them home. One speech can be questioned. One newspaper can be ignored. One poster can be forgotten. But what happens when every newspaper, every poster, every radio broadcast tells the same story? Imagine waking up, reading the morning paper, walking past the same posters, turning on the radio, and hearing the same message again and again. Newspapers, radio, film, posters, public rallies, different voices. One story. Nazi Germany under Joseph Goebbels became one of history's clearest examples of a government coordinating messages across newspapers, radio, film, posters, and public rallies to reinforce the same themes throughout everyday life. Years later, propaganda expert Edward Bernays wrote that he was disturbed to learn Goebbels had studied one of his books on public opinion. The psychology wasn't new. The environment was. History had answered another question. It wasn't enough to make people remember. It wasn't enough to make them care. What if the message became part of the world around you? Today, the tools are different. The psychology is familiar. We still notice what is repeated. We still remember what moves us. We still look to other people when we're uncertain. Technology changed. Human psychology didn't. Stone became statues. Statues became posters. Posters became radio. Radio became television. Television became the screen in your hand. Every generation believed its technology changed everything. But every generation was still guided by the same human mind. The Roman statue, the coin, the World War I poster, the radio, the smartphone. For more than 2,000 years, history kept changing the tools, but it never had to change the mind using them. That's why the greatest persuaders in history didn't change human nature. They learned how to use it. History changes. Human psychology doesn't. So perhaps the most important question isn't whether propaganda shaped history. We already know it did. The real question is, when the next story surrounds you, will you recognize how it's trying to persuade you?